Bonjour. I hoped that by this time I would be able to see you again, but I think it's going to take still a long time. So let's have patience and let's work hard on the French. I hope you're all safe and all healthy and you're still enjoying your time à la maison. I know you have a lot of work from school, so I hope a Wednesday afternoon's French class is something like an inspiration for you. Did you enjoy the song about le petit déjeuner? So remember, le petit déjeuner is the breakfast, and le déjeuner, as I said, is lunch. So the small lunch, actually. But remember that lunch for the French is very important. Sometimes in the country, I think the cities in Paris and big cities are a little different now, but sometimes they go home and they have déjeuner for about 2 hours. And then in the evening, they don't have such a big meal. But le déjeuner can have wine with it. It can have a hors d'oeuvre, a first course, and then a plat principal with meat or fish or something. And then fromage, cheese. And then at the end, usually something sweet, a dessert or a tarte or a petit gâteau or something like that. So that for them is very serious. Before I start with the lesson, so you can so long go to page 11. So before I start with the lesson, I would like to tell you that in a few lessons time, for 2 weeks, you're not going to have a lesson, a video lesson or a YouTube lesson. I'm going to give you a task to complete for me, and that will be your mark for this term. I think that's the easiest, as I don't see you and I can't really give you a test that you have to do. So this task that I want to ask you to do is about civilisation. Now, civilisation is the French word for when you talk about culture, when you talk about the country, when you talk about everything that they do, how they eat, what they do, what they celebrate. So every time at the end of the lesson, every lesson, I'm going to give you 1 or 2 things. But listen to that, because they're also something that you have to answer on. But in your task, in your tâche, you are going to have to look up some of the things. For example, one of the questions will be La Tour Eiffel. And then I would like you to give me 2 facts in English about La Tour Eiffel, for when it was built and why it was built, or what is it. So I'm going to give you 20 of these civilisation topics, and you have to write 2 sentences on each and then send it back to me per email. So now, every time at the end of every lesson, I'll tell you a little story or something about the culture, and that you must also use then if it is asked in the tâche. Ça va? Bon, okay. Continuons, attaquons, let's go to page 11. Page 11, if you remember, the vocabulary page. Now remember, when we get back and we write tests, you will have to be able to spell all these words. I can ask it to you both ways. I can give you the French word, like for example, un crayon, and then you have to write it's a pencil. Or I can give you a pencil, and then you have to give me le crayon, and it must be correctly spelled. So look at the accents, look at the S's, look at the sounds that we don't pronounce. That's very important. What I just want us to look again today in this lesson is at the bottom, at the right hand, à droite de la page 11 of page 11, page 11. Please just look at the classroom commands. Now, a command in French is the imperative. Now, imperative comes from the Latin word impero, imperare. That's a verb. That means to give someone a command or to tell someone to do something. And that's where the English word emperor comes from, because the emperor is the one that gives you the commands, and you must listen and you must obey and you must do them. So imperative is actually where emperor comes from. And just remember that French is a Roman language. Roman language means it comes from Latin. So French, and Spanish, and Italian, and Portuguese, they're all Roman languages. That's why sometimes you'll see a French word, or you'll see an Italian word, or a Spanish word, and it's sort of more or less you can sort of see there's something that's the same. So that's why they're all the same. So would you please look with me at the understand classroom commands, the imperative. So you'll see that some of them have two forms. You have asseyez-vous. It means put yourself down, go and sit. That's what I said, that's a reflexive verb in French. So that's why you've got another put yourself down. The other ones don't have two words. They're just like complète, and then the other one is compléter. So remember, the one that usually ends on a Z. There are just three verbs in French that form won't end on a Z, and that is do, fat with a S, dit with a S, say, and but at won't ever be a command. So 99.9% of these verbs will end in a Z. When your verb of an imperative ends in a Z, that is the imperative that you give to a lot of people, a group, more than one. So when I talk to you, I will always use the one with a Z. The other time when you use the one with a Z is when you're very polite. In other words, when you talk to someone older than you, when you talk to someone that's a person that you don't know very well. And you know the French, for them it's very important. You can't just tell them compte, copy, écoute, because that's the form that you give to someone that you know very, very well, or someone, just one person. They're very, very adamant about it that you use the polite form when you talk to them. Even if you don't know them well, or if they're older than you. You must actually ask them permission not to use the Z form if you don't want to, if you know them very well. And the French actually like their personal space a lot. They keep apart. They're not very good at being very, very friendly with you. They want you to be polite to them. So when you use the form with a Z, I just repeat, it is when you talk to someone that you have respect for, that's older than you, or the king, or the teacher, or the principal, or anyone, an adult. And then also when you talk to more than one. So if you maybe want to tell your friends, go there or do that, you'll also use that form. But the first form, the one that usually or most of the time ends on an E, but it can also end in an S, it depends on which verb it is. That is the form that you use when you talk to one person, when you talk to your pet, when you talk to your brother or sister or your very good friends. So that's the informal one. You know that when you come to matric and you have to write a message or a letter, and if you use the wrong form, they actually subtract 10%. They want you to know when I must use the pull-out form and when I must use the informal form. So let's look at that. I'm going to read it again. I know we did it, but just because we've got an exercise on that. So just repeat after me. Asseyez-vous. Complète. Compléter. Compte. Remember it's an N. Compte. Compter. Copie. Copier. Écoute. Écouter. Écrit. Écrivez. You can see that the whole stem actually changed. Let's do it again. Écrit. Écrivez. Ferme. Fermez. Then that one, the next one I can only give in a group. You must play in pairs. So jouer with a Z. Jouer à deux. Jouer à deux. Encore. Jouer à deux. Get up. Levez-vous. Levez-vous. Ouvre. Remember, I stop on the R. Ouvre. Ouvrez. Regarde. Regardez. Then répéter, they only give you the formal one there because there's an accent there's a change in accent and in pronunciation. The singular one will be répète. So répéter, answer, répond. The plural one will be répondez. And then work in pairs. Travaillez à deux. Remember the double R? Usually between vowels it's like a J. Comme un J en français. Travailler à deux. Encore. Travailler à deux. And then trouve. And you know the formal one will just be trouver with the EZ. Trouve. Trouver. If I would like to make them negative, you just put a ne pas both sides. Like your negative a ne. You remember that we have a double negative in French, like in Afrikaans. We don't have it in English. So the first one I can't do because that completely changes in the plural, or in the negative. Pardon. But if I would like to say do not complete, I will say ne complète pas. Ne complétez pas. Ne compte pas. Ne comptez pas. So if you would like to tell your friend, please don't watch, you say ne regarde pas. Ne regarde pas. Don't answer. Ne réponds pas. Ne réponds pas. Voilà. So now we can go back à la page 10. And then please look at regardez, regardez exercice 1. Now in exercice 1 we're going to practice all these commands. So you must now look at numéro A and you see 2 eyes. And now you must look from 1 to 8. Which one do you think they want you can link with that one? Is it écoute, listen, regardez, watch, travaillez à deux, levez-vous, écrit, répétez, comptez, asseyez-vous. Voilà. So the eyes, numéro A will go with regardez. So it's 2A. Let's look at B. You see, what does it look like to you if they have to get up from their chairs? So how do I say get up? Numéro 4, levez-vous. Did you get it? Voilà. Puis, if I go too fast, please just pause the video or just go back. Voilà. Numéro C. He's got earphones on, écouteur. So what do you think they want him to do? To listen. Okay, so listen will be numéro 1, écoute. It's one person, so it's écoute. Okay, look at numéro D. There they have in shares, in shares, in shares. The teacher says in shares and they repeat in shares. So what do you think they have to do? Répéter. Numéro 6. Now it's chairs, but it's down, so they want you to sit down. So which one is sit down? Asseyez-vous. Numéro 8. F. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You must count. Très bien. Comptez. Numéro 7. Puis numéro G. That's a pick. A pen. Can you remember a bic or a? I think that's a stylo or a bic. Yeah. Je m'appelle. So what do you think you must do? Write. So which one is right? 5. Écrit. Écrit. And numéro 10, you have deux hommes, 2 garçons or 2 men. And it's 1 and a plus and a 1. So what do you think you have to do? You have to count. So it's compter. Numéro 7. Voilà. So if you didn't keep up with me, just go again and do it again and see that you can pronounce it very well. Bon, continuons. Let's continue. Continuons. Numéro 2 à la page 10. Voilà. Now they say, please complete. Can you see complete? It's one of your commands. Complete les phrases. And number 1 is also, they always give the answer of number 1. So if they say regardez, and there they've got a tableau interactif, so it's regardez le tableau interactif. Ça va? Bon. Maintenant, numéro 2. Comptez-les. Comptez-les. Count. So it's comptez les crayons. Comptez les crayons. Numéro 3. Ouvre la porte. Open the door. Ouvre la porte. Numéro 4. Can you remember what a window is? It's a fenêtre. Fenêtre. So it will be ferme la fenêtre. Ferme la fenêtre. Numéro 5. Écoutez. Now remember that écouter is already to listen to. So there's nothing in between écouter la musique, écouter la chanson, écouter. So it's already in the word listen to. So this will be écouter le CD. Find a bic. Trouve un bic. Numéro 7, there's your book. Watch. Look at the book. So regarder is like écouter. The at is already in. So regardez le livre. Now remember the difference between 7 and 8. 7 is a livre, that's a textbook. 8 is a cahier, that's an exercise book that you write in. So now they want you to say close the exercise book. So it will be ferme or fermez le cahier. Now just look at those 8 commands again and just circle me the ones that I give to more than one person or being very polite. Do that quickly. Bon, so it was regarder, numéro 2, compter, and numéro 5, écoutez-le, and then numéro 8, fermez. The others were all just singular ones. Ça va? Bon, numéro 3. Now they want you to find the question. And that's a thing that they do a lot in French. They give you the answer and they want you to ask the question. So if you go back to page 11, you'll quickly see all the questions there. Look at, okay, je m'appelle Linda, so the question will be there at the sommaire, comment t'appelles-tu? How do I ask someone's age? Quel âge as-tu? How are you? Ça va? So just look at that. So which question? Go back to numéro 3 à la page 10. If the answer of the question was, je m'appelle Alex. Now look at the question on the right-hand side. Which one was the question that you asked? The question. C'est, comment t'appelles-tu? Très bien. Okay, they gave you the answer. Then number 2, ça va bien, merci. So which question did you ask, demander to get that réponse, to get that answer? Ça va bien, merci. Ça va bien, merci. Numéro 3, j'ai 12 ans. J'ai 12 ans. I am 12 years old. Remember, I have 12 years. Which was the question? Quel âge as-tu? Numéro F. What age do you have? Quel âge as-tu? J'ai 12 ans. Numéro 4, c'est un crayon. Remember we had a lesson on qu'est-ce que? So you say, what is it? Qu'est-ce que c'est? And then the answer was, c'est un crayon. Numéro 5, c'est Coralie. Now, who's Coralie? Qui est-ce? Qui est-ce? Remember the qui, the one with the I, with a dot on. It's like a crown, it's the person. And que, no dot, it's what. So, qui est-ce? C'est Coralie. And then numéro F. Okay. Oui, c'est un livre. Oui. So, yes, it is a book. So, which one did I ask? C'est un livre. Is it a book? C'est un livre. Très bien. Voilà. Now, would you now please pause the video if you fell behind and then just look at it again. And now look at the pronunciation on that page. And that's just something to practice for the letter I. It's E, E, E. So the la lettre E, you can find the sound in a lot of words in this unit. Practice recognizing it and saying correctly. So let's just read there where you see exemple, read 1 to F. 10, unité, unité, merci, bic, il y a, and then un stylo, but there's not an I, so that's the one that doesn't have an I. Voila. And now pronounce these words. Prononce is also a command. Prononce ces mots. Écoute, listen, and then verify if that's got an I in. 6, écrit, livre, dit, oui, fille, fille. And then there's a little tongue twister for you. Minnie la souris lit 10 livres à Paris. Minnie the mouse reads, lit 10 books in Paris. Minnie the mouse reads 10 books in Paris. Minnie la souris lit 10 livres à Paris. Encore. Minnie la souris lit 10 livres à Paris. And if you're very, very good, you can say it very quick. Minnie la souris lit 10 livres à Paris. Even me, sometimes I fall over my words. Minnie la souris lit 10 livres à Paris. Voila. So, no homework, but just practice everything that we did. So now, our little part of civilisation. So I told you about the tâche or the projet that you have to do with me. I'll send it to you per email. And today, I just would like to tell you something about Pâques. Pâques is Easter. Pâques. Now, I usually tell that when we do Easter, but we weren't in class then, so I couldn't tell you. So during Easter time, remember that a lot of the French are Roman Catholics. There are Protestants, there are Hindus, there are Muslim, there are a lot of different religions. But the Roman Catholics believe, or the most of the churches, most of the synagogue and things do this. They believe that before the weekend of Easter, on Friday. Now remember, Friday is usually that we celebrate when Jesus was on the cross. So that's a sad day because he was crucified. So then from Thursday evening, no bell in France rings. No church bell. They're all silent. Because they tell the kids that the bells all fly to the Pope in Italy, in Rome, in the Vatican City. They fly to him, all of the bells fly away, all the church bells. They fly to Italy, and then they go to the Pope, and it's silent. There's no church bells. There's nothing that rings. And then on Easter Sunday, when it's the day that Jesus was resurrected, that he was alive again, that he stood up from the grave. It's a very joyful day. Then they come back, and when they fly back from the Pope, they drop chocolates and bunnies and chocolate eggs and everything. They drop it in the parks or in the gardens, and that is what the children go out to look for. And then when they come back to Paris, or any village, all the bells, they ring and they ring because they're very glad because Jesus is not dead anymore. So that's what they tell. It actually makes more sense to me than the Easter bunny. So they go away, they go to the Pope, they stay there, and they're very sad because Jesus is dead. And then on the third day, when Jesus the resurrection of Jesus, then they come back and they bring a lot of chocolates. And then the children go all out. Remember, most of the people in big cities live in apartments, big apartments, but they don't have gardens. So then they go out into the parks, or those that have gardens, they go and they look for the chocolates. And then they're very glad because all over France, all the bells are ringing. So remember that. Bon, so I'm going to tell you au revoir, and I'll see you next week for Leçon 6. Au revoir.